Mr. Schlimgen?
Okay.
We're live.
43. We're 2 minutes early.
Yeah, lighten up.
We're not going by it. It's always been late.
I've never waited.
There's two, you know.
We're live. Just, that's another reminder.
All right, we're live. So did Luke tell you that you have to come up and give a 5-minute presentation on
You know, he said.
history of the
never
newspaper?
approach the mic.
Unless requested.
We'll bring the mic to you.
Oh,
There's one right there.
I can hear you guys on YouTube, just so you know.
he said in all
Super.
his years, he's only approached the mic like twice.
Then you did it right.
Well, come up here once and you're only 50% away from him.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you gotta break that record.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. Thanks, Joe. Any citizens' input? Mr. Mayor, come on up. You have 3 minutes.
Hopefully everyone can hear me. It shouldn't take that long. So I just wanted to come up here and apologize after the last city council meeting to Kevin and Jason and everyone on the board and all the golfers and everyone that go to the golf course about the $75,000. I kind of, usually I'm a little bit more playful than I probably should be, but I had mentioned $75,000 never getting paid back and that the golf course may not ever pay their bills. Well, I'm glad Jeff stopped into my office and explained to me what was going on, because I probably should have done that research ahead of time. After a couple hours of investigation, I found out that the finance office had never clicked the button to change over the money, but that was probably my fault because they take direction from the mayor. So I'd like to just say sorry, I'm stupid, and we got it figured out, and thanks everyone who reached out, especially Jeff, for coming to my office and holding me accountable and getting it figured out.
In your defense, there was a lot of employee turnover since that document was created, so.
Well, you know, as he said, he just wants it to go away, and we figured it out, you know, and we did. So I just want to say thank you for reaching out, and I'm sorry if I said anything that offended anyone. And you guys do a great job at the golf course all around. Always hear great compliments. In fact, I think I looked up the employee, what do you call it, accident report, and no employee accidents in 2024, so good job. Everything's good.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, any delegations? None. We need to approve our minutes from the January meeting. If my,
Yeah, we skipped it in February.
yeah,
So moved.
thanks, Joe.
Second.
And Joel seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the January minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Financial reports.
We'll start with cemetery bills for January, and we'll go on to cemetery bills for February.
Okay. Yeah, for January, there wasn't much there. So let me see something I have a question about, just holler. Pretty much just a lot of parts and stuff, getting mowers and equipment ready.
Okay.
Moving on to golf course bills, January.
There again, I do not see anything there that's out of the ordinary. $620, that is Midwest Turf and Irrigation. I think that bill ended up being about $1,500 or so. Yep. If you have any questions, I can delve into anything, but. Again, $1,100, that one was just a bigger parts order. Nothing out of the ordinary.
As long as we're talking bills, Jordan, do you know when that money's coming out?
It may have been today,
Okay,
so sometime this week, I think.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Already said that too.
Yeah, they're getting Eric's contract and everything's pretty. I didn't have any surprises in the last 2 months, let's say that, so.
So moving on to revenue and expense for cemetery for January.
Do you have any big ones coming up? Like at what point do your big ones start coming up for
Well, we'll have the equipment coming up here in about a month.
the new stuff we got coming
Yeah.
up?
Yep, so the golf course will have 75,000 for that. I might talk to each of you about the rest of that, so, yeah, I don't foresee anything else big. We'll have, some projects and stuff from last year that hopefully are getting carried over. I haven't gotten final word on that yet. That money hasn't been moved forward, but otherwise, we'll have some fertilizer and stuff coming up.
And the dollars that Jason's talking about in terms of moving it forward, we'll have it on the council agenda coming up next week. At least it's slated to.
So it's all projects that we had money for last year. I did not get it spent for differing reasons. And it's got to go through the process of getting reallocated and pushed forward to this current year. But it's working through that process right now, so that's the reasoning.
There's one that'll be coming up rather soon in the year, I think. Get them to buy more rainbows.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not have as much budget for range balls. We only had 3,600, so. Let's see. Yeah, and you just don't see a lot on there yet, just because we're just so early in the year and just getting into bills and income coming in and, so, obviously, I think you all know we opened yesterday, so, we did have some good revenue yesterday, and I'm assuming today, I haven't looked.
About 30.
Just today? Okay, so, it's a good start to the year.
I rolled through 8 different documents there.
So,
And just so the rest of the board is aware, at the 2 council meetings ago, they allocated $250,000 of our cash towards the next phase, phase 3, and $50,000 towards golf carts. It doesn't mean we don't have access to it if we need it, if something blows up and we need it, but it's better to have it allocated in the fund, directed towards something, instead of just sitting there. So that was done
I
think
think
it
that
was
3 meetings ago.
a while back, but we didn't have a meeting last month, so that had happened. And so this 75,000 will come out of, and I don't know if we can make a request, but my preference would be, if it's possible, to take 50,000 that we allocated towards the carts and 25 from the 250 towards the next phase. So our balance for the project is mostly intact.
You looking at me?
I am.
Oh, you want to come up there? I didn't really understand what you're saying.
So the 75,000, if it's possible, and we can discuss it as a board, I mean, this is just me talking, but if we could take 50,000 of that 75 from the cart installment, allocated towards the carts, and the other 25 out of the 250,000 towards our next phase. So we'd still have 225,000 designated towards the next phase, instead of depleting that.
Yeah, that was one thing I asked what Kevin wanted to do. I'm not sure if we've already pulled the trigger or not. I'll ask, because we asked if we wanted to spread it out, because it wasn't really fair to just pull the trigger and take it all. But I'm not sure if that's already happened or not. If it's not, I think it's okay to spread it out. If it's already happened, I don't know what the rules are on that, so.
I don't either.
What's that?
I don't either.
Okay. I'm just throwing that out there for,
So when we allocate that money, where does it go?
the
No.
council allocates it, but
Right.
it's still in our account.
It's just earmarked as saying this
Yeah.
is our first ideas on where it would get spent.
Okay. So like it still sits in our quote-unquote coffers
Yeah.
here, so it doesn't like come out of this and go into like a special account somewhere else. It still sits, still lives in this.
Yep. They just add it to a different bucket within the same wheelhouse.
Fine with that, because you're talking this 75 from 2013,
Correct.
right? Yeah, and like I just want to get this out here and in the open as well too. Like I enthusiastically, like we just recommend to council, right?
Yep.
Like we don't pay the bills here.
Right.
Like we don't write the check. City writes the check. But I enthusiastically recommend that $75,000 in 2013 gets cleared up, because we do pay our bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I want to make that clear that it was never your fault ever. It was just the leadership had never clicked the button to take the money. As Jeff said, you guys don't get a checkbook and you don't get to just write checks.
Right.
And there
So we just never collected on, and that's technically that eventually becomes my fault.
Yeah.
Also, there was years where there was positive cash flow and some not so positive.
Absolutely.
So then there wasn't the mindset at that time to say, well, I need to do that tomorrow. It might have been, I need to
Absolutely.
remember to do that next year.
Yeah, and the sitting mayor wasn't here in 2013, and you weren't here in 2013, and
Finance officer wasn't here in
you weren't here in
2013.
2013, and the
Nobody.
city manager wasn't here in 2013, and the finance manager wasn't here and he wasn't here, and I wasn't here.
It was actually,
So-
and it was actually 100,000, and then in 2020, or 2014, a quarter of that was paid off, and then in 2014, that's when everything shifted. I think every single job turned over,
Right.
and it just got forgotten about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the point that I'm making is enthusiastically recommend that $75,000 gets paid, because right is right.
Right.
Yeah, and right now, because right is right. And that needs to get done and taken care of. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, 50,000 and yeah, that,
Michelle texted me back and said she hadn't done it. She was gonna do it tomorrow. So, it hasn't been changed. I said, can we break that up into payments? So, to make it fair, like I said, I don't wanna just all of a sudden snag a bunch of money, even though it says we can according to the rule. But if you want us to break it up into,
No, pay it off, but
pay it off and.
what I'm getting at is, at the 3 council meetings ago, it was allocated, $50,000 of our cash was allocated towards future cart purchases, and $250,000 was for the next phase request. And alls I'm asking is deplete the 50,000 out of the carts and 25,000 away from the
project.
250 for the project.
Yep.
So it's
Okay.
just more,
Kevin, you write that down, cause that's, okay.
50 and 25.
but I do appreciate you coming here and saying that, because this is unprecedented in city government. I worked for state government for 27 years. This has never happened, so kudos.
I'm glad we got it handled.
And-
And I appreciate you reaching out to me, like I said, cause
And it's not your fault.
It's
It
not.
it ends up being your responsibility,
maybe that's the word,
but
yep.
not your fault.
Like I said, I feel bad for saying you guys don't pay your bills when I know you do. It's my responsibility and we took care of it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, more years here at a city council meeting than what they do.
Oh, I'll say it there too, but I want to be in
Yeah.
front of you guys because I know this, you guys are the board, so.
Yep, and I appreciate that, I do. But I'm just gonna say it here too, like, I'm tired of it getting brought up at a council meeting, and I'm glad that this is gonna be the end of it.
That's what he
Right.
said, and we
Yep.
solved it, and
Yep, I agree. And-
totally understand you.
And,
your
and I'm
feelings.
I'm with Jeff too, Mayor, like, I appreciate you coming here and doing what you're doing, I do. Yep, I do appreciate that, and I'm glad that this is gonna be the end of it, and I'm glad that this debt is getting settled, because it needs to get settled.
Yeah.
It needs to get paid. So, yep, I appreciate you coming and doing that, and I'm glad that we're getting, this debt settled from
And then what-
2013, because it needs to get settled.
And we'll never have to talk about it again.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah,
guys should like
Under the
that.
rock.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make sure tomorrow, I'll just, as long as Kevin knows exactly what your request is, it sounds like we take previous and then take 25 of future, and then that's your bucket, okay?
Good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Looking for a motion to the finances.
Yep, we need a motion to approve the financials.
so move.
Joel, Tom? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. They are approved. What'd you do to your screen?
Good question. I think I'm gonna close that up and open it again. That doesn't look good. It widened everything. My gosh. I bumped something and it went blank and I bumped it again and it came up and it's not attractive. So we'll see how we get now when we open, there it went again. And I'll go back to it and it's right. I don't take credit for that.
Way to go. Tech support.
Meeting overview and up to clubhouse report.
Well, I'm gonna change the order of our agenda, and I'm gonna accommodate Corey. You're going from 12 to 5.
Well, that's the biggest upgrade I've had, man.
So, okay, go ahead. As much as you'd like to sit through this.
That's a good promotion. Thanks.
Take your motion.
From here, I go to my daughter's 11th birthday party, so I appreciate you guys moving out.
We don't want you to be late.
That's right, I already am, but I'll be less late now, so. I'll give you kind of a quick backstory on it, and if you need more details, we get into it. But traditionally, over the past 7 years, I believe, we've hosted our cross-country meets out at Wild Oak. This most recent summer, with the uncertainty of what was going on at Wild Oak and those things, I was trying to find an alternate solution to where we could host our cross-country meet that we host in the late August, early September, our annual meet that we host every year. Was accommodated very well out at the soccer complex. Jeremy Nielsen did a fantastic job with us getting us in out there. That's very suitable for what that meet is for. This coming year, we're set to host the ESD meet, which will be October 11th, this coming year. At that time, just not knowing with the uncertainty of what was going on at Wild Oak, I'd reached out to Eric and Jason just to kind of put this on the radar. Is there an opportunity to host the ESD meet October 11th of this year, one meet only, out at Lakeview? Was not looking to make this, to take a possible yes vote and turn this into an every year type of thing. The ESD meets rotate around through the conference, so it's once every 10 years is what we host this. I can't host that quality, that caliber of a meet at the soccer complex. It needs to be at a better venue than that. So again, at that time, reached out just to put it on the radar to say, if it gets to a point where I need a different location, is Lakeview a potential? So I mapped out just some options, trying to avoid avoid fairways, trying to limit the impact that it would be on the golf course. We would need to paint an entire line, you know, around that course. We try to make a few loops type of thing to make it a little spectator friendly. I only did it just to make sure that we could do it if we would need to. Since then, just here in the last couple weeks, had reached out to Chase Christensen with Wild Oak, and he's very open to the idea of us hosting our cross-country meets out there still, including the ESD meet. So at this point, there's not really anything for us to decide, but I still want to at least get on your radar to see, is if needed, is this an option that we could come out to Lakeview and host that there? Again, one meet, not looking to make this an annual type of thing. It's just because it's an ESD meet that I need a better course than what I would be able to provide out at the soccer complex. So again, I don't know what questions you might have now. I don't know if we need to get into anything at this point because it's all speculative at this point. In talking with Chase, they've got construction stuff that will be going on, but we've got 2 different courses out there in 2 different parts of their, 2 cross-country courses within their course in 2 different parts of their course. So we've got 2 options there potentially. So really, the way I'm looking at it now, Lakeview would be option 3. You know, we'd have 2 different sites out at Wild Oak, and then if neither of those work based on timing and construction and those kind of things, Lakeview would then become that 3rd option is really kind of where I'm at. So I don't know what you guys have for questions at this point. We start at 10 o'clock. That means teams start showing up probably around 8. Our last race is scheduled to start at 12:30, probably gets done at 1. Do quick wars. We'd probably have everybody out there off the course and gone by 1:30, 2 o'clock.
It's not on here for an action item, it's just basically a discussion item at this point to see what your thoughts are.
And if you have questions for Corey.
And I guess maybe just to preempt some of it, I mean, first of all, I'm a member out there, right? Like, so I understand, I want the course taken care of. You know, it's not as though we would come out there and just run ragged around there. So we'd work with Eric and Jason to make sure that we've got things protected as they need to. You know, try to avoid tee boxes and greens where we can, but the reality is you're going to run by them. I'm not saying we will not run across them, but the runners aren't necessarily as big of an issue. It's the spectators, right? You've got, you know, probably whatever 500, 600, 800 people that are a little bit. So what I've done at Wild Oak and what I would do out there would be I would get supervision in places where, you know, if we got a course running by greens, I would get someone there to monitor that to make sure we've got people, you know, not going across greens, not going across tee boxes, those type of things. So, you know, we would do whatever we need to make sure we protect the course. We're not going to be running across greens and those. We would do less damage than the deer do out there, I guess. So, but we would do whatever we need to do to make sure that.
Corey, I got one question.
Yeah.
What's the deal with cross-country and no other sports where they trash the clubhouse? They trash the bathrooms. I mean, I'm in Dells, they go in the girls' bathroom, they rip the door off the stool, invitational. They go into Salem, locks the clubhouse, locks the outdoor bathrooms because they trash it. How come cross-country has such a bad, it's an image, it's something that's handed down.
Yeah, I've heard that, you know, I haven't.
Brian Geisher won't let them on their course. I just ask people, well, them too, they just don't want to say it, don't bother me, but, I mean, everybody in golf business knows, keep cross-country off because they trash it. Not the course physically, they ain't gonna hurt nothing out there.
Yeah, with that in mind, I don't know the answer to the question.
Yeah,
I've heard
but there's
that.
gotta be something going on. It don't happen in high school golf tournaments, it don't happen,
Right.
it just happens in cross-country, in all over the state.
Yeah. I don't know why that is, but to combat that, my idea would be is we would start I mean, the start line would be out on the driving range, you know, probably on the kind of the south end of that. The finish line would be out in the driving range, just west of the 15 green. So we could draw all the crowd and all the traffic could drive out that direction, and we could not even touch the clubhouse. I mean, we could just say it's not open. We'd bring in porta potties. We'd do
I'm
some of
assuming
those things.
Huron does the state still, yeah, that's.
Yeah, they still do it at Broadland.
And, you know, they used to start south of the clubhouse and, that's.
They
a
start
long
right
time
down
ago when
their
I've been
driving
there.
range is where they
Yeah.
do too, so.
But there's,
The challenge with cross-country courses is you're looking for irrigated, big irrigated areas so that you don't have pocket gopher holes. And, you know, before we landed out at the soccer complex, I mean, I looked all over town trying to find a space big enough to be able to do it, and it's hard to find big enough space that you can do that.
See, when we did some renovation in Salem, and I was redoing a green, and of course, Gene Danielson's a legend, and he says, I said something, hey, we're gonna have to, I said, no, it's cross country. I said, we're gonna go right through it. Okay. And, you know, at that time, they had the biggest invitational, it was the first one of the year, a week before everybody, so everybody came to school when it started. And, so he wasn't worried about, you running on good grass and potholes, it's cross country. I said, okay, he drew it up, but that's 30 years ago, but.
Yeah, when I first started, we ran out at Cadwell, you know, used that northwest corner of that, and out there is okay, but that's not enough space yet. We would end up sending them through the ditch, basically, along the bypass and up,
You know,
is that 7th or 8th, along there, and then kind of back through where the dog park is, and just not ideal to have kids running in. I mean, I know it's cross-country, but yet you step in a hole, and now all of a sudden you got.
Especially if it's wet down there.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the challenges that we've faced in my first few years. We've solved that, but I just don't want to go back to that again. An ESD meet, this isn't a, small invitational that we host, that's not a big deal, that's okay, but, I want to put on an event that we're proud of as a school district, and we're proud of as a city. And add a golf course with, unless there's something else that someone else sees that I'm not seeing, another option. It's got to be on one of those two golf courses, in my opinion.
Is there any need for practice runs?
No. I mean, typically what they do is when they get there, they'll come and just walk the course. They'll spend that first 2 hours when they get there, they'll just walk it. So there'd be no, I mean, if we maybe could potentially get our kids out there to get out there maybe and see it early, but that would be an ask and certainly not a want. If it works, great. If not, no big deal. They can do it that morning.
Sure.
But yeah, there'd be no practice rounds or a open type of thing for them to see it besides that morning.
Is there any fees that the conference pays for use of course or all?
No, not, the conference doesn't. I mean, if there'd be any fees, we would incur it as a school district.
And you said you scouted it like a path?
Yeah, just kind of a Google Maps, type of thing. I haven't went out and actually
Ran it?
Well, certainly didn't run it. If you look at all of my runs on my app, they're all done on a golf cart on a cross country trails. But just kind of the general area would be start out on the south end of the driving range, across 16, north of the pond there, 17, across 2, and then kind of up on the east side of 2, up through there, up past, over to north of 10, up on the far side of 10, and then kind of loop back around through 10, 9, 1, 18, back to the finish line, or the end of the driving range. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
How many miles is it?
So we have 3 different races that we run, because we run a middle school, a JV, and a varsity. So it's 3 courses. We run 6 races, boys and girls for each one. So a 3K, 4K, 5K.
Okay. Like, and what I'm getting to, like, roundabout way is, like, trying to figure out how many workers we would need to secure the greens.
Yeah.
Is like what I'm getting to, because like you might have members, right? Like if we do this, that might take a special interest in
Standing guard.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like legit, right? Roping off the greens, but
So there's the.
That's what Corey had sent.
And again, this is just this doesn't need to be a final. This was just an idea. I just wanted to see, can we do something, and that's where we're at. So.
When do you have to know, Corey?
I mean, it's not like I have a deadline to put it into, just enough for me to make logistical, decision to be able to to pull it off.
And
So-
basically as a backup plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wild Oak
And
doesn't.
I would lean more towards a backup plan. you
Yeah,
know?
and that's my intention too. Yeah, I'm not looking, I mean,
As long as you had, like you said, people in front of the greens and get more, like you said, the fans,
Yeah.
or the parents, and they're the ones that can do the damage.
yep, absolutely.
And just for, if it does end up being out there, that's typically the week I try to aerify greens. So play will be a little less anyways. So,
But yeah, I mean, when you look through it, you can see I tried to avoid, I tried to stay away from, from greens. Not saying we won't need to protect them with some people here and there, but the idea was try to stay as far away. I think, is that one? Yeah, one is the one that's probably the most, just the way it kind of lays out is the but the idea would be to go almost down closer to the trees there, not even up to the green. It'd be more down, down below it. But again, that's probably my biggest concerns, maybe too strong of a word, but just the biggest area that I'd want to make sure we had that staffed. And we haven't had, any issues at Wild Oak with, I mean, they've let us keep coming out there, so we must be doing
Yeah.
something right.
What's your best guess on attendance, non-participants?
It's hard to tell because it's this big open space, so,
Is there 200 people?
no,
500
more than
people?
that, probably in that 600 to 800 range, 600, somewhere in that ballpark.
That's probably some of the issues they've had, is you've got 600 people plus athletes at a facility that has really 3 bathroom stalls.
3 bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intended for 15 people to come through at a time, yep.
And then you get the mob mentality to go with it when it happens.
Well, can you, it's not our event, right, but can you head some of that off with can you call the local porta bathroom place, right?
Hey, he
And-
mentioned that,
Yeah.
porta potties.
Yeah, we could set them right out, and
Yeah.
we'd put them wherever you wanted, but we could do, my idea would be to pull everything away from the clubhouse and we wouldn't touch it. And we could just say the clubhouse is closed to
And
cross country.
you might
for
need
that.
running water for some accident or something, but.
What's that?
You might need running water or access to
Oh,
it
sure.
for some accident or.
Yeah, and we could look at setting up, if we wanted to. Typically, the only reason they would need to go in there would be for concession type thing outside of bathrooms. So,
I'm
I
thinking
think
Eric
that
could
would be
probably
good.
want it open.
right, I know, that's the,
Burgers.
Oh, yeah, he's grilling burgers for sure.
yeah.
Little sales will be $49.
Yeah, it's a,
They bring everything in.
it's pretty
Just like the
minimal.
restaurants, huh?
They don't want them eating
It's like a
burgers.
track meet.
I don't love it as an annual, but certainly like as an ESD, and like I pulled up our calendar from a couple meetings ago. We're pretty much done with our season by then, and if we can do it strategically around when Jason's gonna be punching greens or, doing something like that, and if we can, man our pressure points, through the school district and, maybe like our own membership, and stuff like that. I certainly hate it a lot less. Given that time of the year, and it's the school district, right?
Right.
It's a good partnership in those things. Like if it was August 1, I'd be like, sorry, but it's October 11th.
Well, we can't take any action on it at this meeting.
Right, yeah.
But as far as a Plan C goes, I think.
Absolutely.
You probably have our support to do
Yeah.
that.
Is there any specific concerns that you think of right now that you'd want, if we get to that point, that we need to work through, that we haven't touched on those are all the things that are on top of my mind, but if there's other things that you guys think of that you'd want us to address.
These would be the 2 guys you need to
Yep.
Yeah.
Jason,
work with.
our trash cans are still out at that time, aren't they?
yeah. Yeah, I usually don't pull them until late October.
Well, then, people got a place to put garbage too.
And we could supply some additional ones in those
Yeah,
team
that's what
camp
I'd
type
say.
areas and some of those type of things that
If
might
somebody's-
naturally collect them more.
If somebody's mobility challenged, would we allow access to a golf cart versus a scooter going around on a course to watch a kid or grandkid?
Is there restrictions on their end? Because I know like state golf, they don't allow unless.
No, not for ESD, there wouldn't
Okay.
be. So it'd be up to you guys, yep. If you
Yeah,
said
that-
no, I'd support that. If you wanted to allow it, you could charge them rent and.
Yeah.
Just being the negative Nancy on this, not from my standpoint, but from when I was in Madison, we had cross-country out there. I think some of the pushback too, from the trash in the clubhouse, it also comes from when you have a meet out there. It's not an organized practice, but kids will come out there obviously and run the course, and that's what they did before I was even here when cross-country was out there. Then you have to kick them off, and I think that was some of the pushback was golfers would get upset about, well, there's people out there running the course, not saying there'd be sanctioned
Yeah.
practices, but then a group of kids comes out there, parks their vehicle, and gets on the course so they can run the course. And I'm just being the negative Nancy, not from the meet itself, just what leads up to it, and
The days and weeks ahead?
yeah, just from things I've experienced from when Madison DSU and the high school hosted their cross-country meets out there. And for me, when I was like 22 or 23, you got all these college kids running out there, all these members are calling me, hey, kick these kids off the course, and they're out there running, they don't see any problem with them running, but then obviously there's a liability. But I mean, that's nothing with the meet, that's leading up to it with kids wanting to obviously run the course and stuff. I mean,
I guess I'm just
that's,
gonna say one thing about that, that is, if we do allow this and stuff like that's happening, it's gonna be a one-time deal. So,
Yeah, we can certainly proactively make sure our kids are.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I'm not gonna say that we're gonna tell them not to, and that they're
yeah,
not
they're
going to.
gonna do it. I
You
mean,
know,
that's not, no, that's not on you or
Yeah.
anybody, other than, I mean, they just wanna get on the course and stuff. It's just, that's just some of the stuff that I've dealt with previously. I've never dealt with it here, cause before I came here, they went away from, no, it was my second year here is when they went away from cross-country at the golf course, so.
and a lot of people, when they are doing that, or they're just walking out there, they don't realize that it's a safety hazard for them. Not just because of the golfers see them out there, but it's a safety hazard for them to be out there walking, because they don't know the course, and they're just out there, blah, 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 and
Which direction the ball's coming?
yeah, they have no idea. And I have to explain when I do have to kick somebody off. We're worried about your safety, number one. Number two, the golfers shouldn't have to worry about hitting. So, I mean, we can go on and on about that, but, so.
That's all I got.
Anything else?
It's your birthday party.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
I would think probably, you guys are second Monday, or when do you guys meet?
Second Monday of the month.
I would think, that August timeframe, I would think, we should have a really good, that's probably when I would come back if it's something that we need to at least start considering. I may be able to push it off even a month later than that, but that's maybe a bit of timeline of what I'd be looking at, so.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Corey.
Happy birthday.
All right. Clubhouse report. Eric, got some good news.
Yes, opened the course yesterday.
Clubhouse club, and the old car.
So we had quite a bit of traffic yesterday. I mean, we had 50 golfers yesterday, more people on the range, people coming, getting their memberships today. Took in even more memberships today, public place coming out. The range was busy again today. It was actually, I mean, it was super nice today, so. And I'm still getting stuff prepared inside, but all the stuff I needed to get done for the start of the year, from getting memberships and stuff and allowing the course, and Jason getting pins in and stuff ready for people to go play. But it's been good 2 days, and see what the weather holds here for coming up, but it doesn't look the best for weather. But I think, just like with talking with Jason, getting the course open here when we did, it was a good gesture for the members and for anybody that wanted to play, just to come out, and it's well worth it opening yesterday and today with the amount of traffic that we did have, because we're still on the front nine. We're just allowing carts on the cart pass, and we're just allowing walking on the back nine, but that hasn't deterred too many people from coming out, and the range is open and stuff, so gets them in the golfing mood and golfing mode for the year. I'm organizing schedule and stuff. Nothing's changed really on the last meeting, 2 meetings ago, or last meeting we had from the schedule of events. Nothing's been added or anything with that. Start emailing. You guys will be seeing my emails more, Facebook posts eventually. I do have a handout. The first tee dates are set, so when we're bringing the first tee here, this is just kind of the flyer-ish that the first tee puts out for the program at Lakeview, explaining what first tee is and how they basically improve the lives of young people through golf. And then it has our logo, all their major sponsors. There's a few from Mitchell that are sponsoring on there. And then the second page has the age groups and the dates, and I put the dates in my clubhouse report, but just so you guys can have this, so you know what to expect from kind of the first tee, with it being its first year here. Just so you guys are aware, it's not my program at all, so I mean, I really have nothing to do with it other than getting the dates for them. They are in charge of everything, but I think I posted a few things about it on our Facebook page, and I think it'll be good for Mitchell to have my junior clinic in June plus this as an option. So nothing on that. Obviously, you guys know from previous meetings, we have the 2025 STGA Adult Junior and Junior Championship at Lakeview this year, July 20th through the 23rd. We moved our member guest tournament back a week into August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to accommodate how close it would be to the STGA event. And then on the agenda, and I have on my clubhouse report, 2026 state events that would be coming here would be the Mid-AM Championship from the STGA on June 6th and 7th, and then the State A boys would be here in the fall of 2026.
So Eric, on the first tee, is that similar to like what you had done in previous as far as like the
Age groups and
practice tees, the?
Yep, it'll
driving range and
basically
stuff?
be, it'll look, it won't, they base their ages, they only allow so many per age group. So actually, during my June event, there's probably gonna be more kids out there because mine are only 2 age groups, where they have 4 different age groups, and they limit their number of spots they can go in, so there's so many coaches per so many kids.
How much time on their actual course? would
None.
they-
They just use
It's
the
all
practice
stuff?
facilities from range and stuff, unless me and Jason say, hey, one day you guys can take your kids to the course and stuff, but that's at our discretion. Right now, everything from those dates are just on the old lawn bowling green, the practice green, and the range. So basically, if you've ever been out there in June on a Monday and Tuesday when I have my junior camp, it'd be the same type of thing. There'll be his kids out on the driving range, and
So you won't do your program on top of that?
I'll do my program in June.
In June,
And then have
okay,
this
okay.
as
All
well.
right, yeah.
Yep. So there'll be 2 basically options for junior golfers to have access out there basically in 2 different programs. And like I said, I'm not really involved in this at all. I mean, I'll be there and stuff, but they have their own head of the first tee that runs it. They have their own employees that are out there and stuff, and obviously I'll coordinate with them and stuff, but I don't have, how do I put this, any authority over it. It's their thing. I just tell them where they can go and set these dates and times, basically.
Should be good for the kids.
And it really doesn't, I mean, it doesn't affect if we have an event that day. I mean, they're out on the driving range and stuff, and our event's still operating as normal on the course, so
Shouldn't be any problem.
it'll just be more people out there, more activity, which, I mean, has grown in the last 2-3 years, there's more people out there, more activity. It's not where you drive into the parking lot before in 2016, 17, there's nobody in the parking lot. There's just always somebody out there, and this is gonna be more people out there and more things going on. So that's all I have got, and as you probably saw in my email, I mean, I put on there, we're opening yesterday, I put through Thursday, we'll be open Friday, granted, the weather stays, but we'll probably be closed again this weekend, and I'll keep people somewhat updated on when the course and clubhouse will be open through March with weather pending.
Anything else for Eric? Thank you. Superintendent's report.
For the cemetery, we're currently looking at spots to place a couple mausoleums. We've had, we did have 2 requests. One individual backed out on that, but we still have one that really wants a mausoleum. So we're looking at some spots, and we're gonna kind of locate it where we could have multiple for if future needs for it. I got a little bit of tree work to do yet, wrapping up on equipment maintenance. We got the new utility vehicle for the cemetery already. I've got to buy a sprayer that we'll put in the box of it for spraying in the cemetery. So there's still money in the budget for that. Community gardens, still kind of waiting for a few of the gardeners from last year. They've implied that they're going to be back, but they haven't come in to pay yet. So as they're calling in and saying if they're not coming back, we're starting to infill on our list. We've got a waiting list all built up, so hopefully we can accommodate as many people as possible. Went to the South Dakota Golf Course Superintendent's Association last week. We actually inducted our first class of Hall of Fame for superintendents. So that was kind of neat. Trimmed a lot of trees. We cut down a few trees this winter. We did a lot of trimming for safety reasons, and then also just bringing up the canopy on some. Things are looking, we still have a lot of little material out there, so we just got to get out and pick that up. Just a little bit of real grinding to do. Been working with some sign companies on entrance sign. I handed out, that was just kind of the first concept of a company out of Watertown did that for me. So just wanted, we could go with a sign like that that's kind of sticks up, or something more along the ground level. So if you guys got opinions on that, stop and talk to me. Working with Terry from engineering on the SHPO application for 11 and 12. City Council wanted us to pursue that to see if we can work on anything down there. So we're in the process of that. When I talked to Terry last, he had not made contact yet. And still kind of with engineering also kind of working on what our water source will be moving forward. They're working through that process right now. Other than that, hopefully, I'm still hopeful that we can open the new stuff June 1st, but it's all going to depend on the weather. Dunick will be back to do some sodding on some of those T-tops. So it's all going to be weather dependent and how the spring goes. So, but if it's not June 1st, I'm still hopeful that it's through in June yet. So, other than that, with opening up, just ask people that are coming out to abide by what we set forth on that. And today, I know, I saw one track cross off the cart path, but it looked like most everybody was abiding by it. And part of that is because to allow the grass to start growing just a little bit. It's not necessarily because it's so wet. It's just allowing the grass to get a little bit of a head start, so. Guess if anybody has any questions. Oh, down below, can you go back to my report? We had talked about T markers. We had somebody possibly wanting to donate one set for us. This is just an example of what's a possibility. We could do like the dome on there if we wanted to. We had still been talking to Steve Rice about the possibility, what we showed you before. We really don't have an answer on that yet, so there's a few options, but for moving forward, but I guess I hope to talk to Steve about that and see where he's at on that before we move on to something else. So I just thought that this was a very viable option. So obviously a different design on it, so, but, so.
Cemetery side, when are they gonna start the bathrooms?
I'm sure it'll be happening here pretty soon. Now, we're not really in charge of that. Mr. Strand will be essentially building that. I'm involved with it in the fact of kind of how it's getting laid out and everything, and just trying to advise him and everything, but that's kind of his project more or less, so. I'm gonna guess in April, stuff will start moving when the frost is out of the ground and things start firming up a little bit, so.
You haven't requested the annual report, but I put it in here.
Oh. Yeah, if you guys want to look online, this is the annual report I did for the city, so. Essentially, it's a lot of the financials that you guys are aware of. Little bit of a few pictures and some just some explanation on what we did and how our year went, so.
Cool. Anything else for Jason? Approval of the mid-amateur on June 6th and 7th of 2026. Is this you, Eric?
Sure.
Dean Zahn from the SCJ reached out to me probably a couple weeks ago, about hosting Mid-Am. Emailed me today. I said we will have it up for approval tonight at this meeting. But basically, it's here June 6th and 7th. Practice round would be Friday, June 5th. We only had one reoccurring event that would be taking place on Friday, which I've already contacted them and moved their event for 2026 away from that Friday, which would be on it. There's nothing else on that weekend. That would be in mid-amateur. There's 70 to 90 participants. It's obviously not the biggest SCJ event, but it's an SCG event that's no-brainer that Kevin has up there. Just kind of a layout, kind of a, I don't know, a P&L of what the course would take in and what's given to the course from, I mean, it's a $10,000 weekend from the city tournament, or for the city, for fees that go to them and stuff, then I get gift certificates and everything, but that's kind of the breakdown of how the SCGA pays out for their events and everything.
Well, I golf in it almost every year, and
Yeah.
there's a large contingency from Mitchell that travels throughout the state no matter what. So, I mean, I think it's a nice for the guys from Mitchell who do golf in it to be able to host it, so.
Yeah, from my standpoint, Doug and Jason, I mean, yeah, I mean, we approve it, you guys approve it, it's obviously coming here. I don't see any negative in it, I mean.
But I'm not gonna win it no matter where it's at.
Amateur look like.
A lot younger than you.
Yeah, mid-am is, what's the age group, Joel, for mid-am?
25 to 50, right? Well, 25 to 49, because I think 50 is when you can go.
Seniors.
I get picked on like that all the time, Joe.
God bless you.
Every
Yeah,
time.
yeah, so this is my last shot at the mid-am, so it's gotta be here. This is
Well,
my
this-
swan song.
I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Thank you.
Second.
They should probably name this one after me. This is my last shot at the mid-am,
Well,
so I gotta win this one.
so
You do.
motion by Joel,
Yeah,
second by Tom. Any further discussion?
yeah.
No,
So
28? What's the age group?
25.
25 to 49, because 50 gets you into
25
seniors,
to
right?
49.
And something, I don't know how long they've had the mid-am at the SCGA.
Is there a cap on it?
Yeah, I think, because 50, you go into the seniors, right?
Well, you don't have to, because the seniors can also play in the stroke play.
I'll have to look at that. But 2025 is the minimum, is when you can start playing in the mid-am.
It kind of eliminates the college players age-wise, although I was 25 and still in college.
You and me both.
All right, all those in favor of the mid-am in July of 26, June 26, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, it passes. Approval of the State A Boys, October of 2026. Eric,
Make a motion.
what's that?
Second,
This one, in October, we've had state tournaments before. This is the first year our A's, I believe, have been here. But the course gets, I believe it's $4,800 is what the South Dakota High School Activities Association pays to host their event. Yeah, right down there and highlighted, $4,500, sorry. And then also the green fees and card fees from the practice round get paid to the course, and then food and beverage on my side. And we've had state events before. We had Double A boys 4 years ago-ish. So,
how come it's the A we're getting?
Just on the rotation.
it's on a rotation throughout the state of 18-hole courses where they can host state events at. And with B, like for Class B, they have to have 2 18-hole courses in the town, but A, I mean, they just rotate it amongst the state. So, any questions on?
I think you mentioned at the last meeting, it doesn't, all our tournaments are done
Yep.
at that point.
Yep.
So. You want to make a motion?
Yep, make a motion to approve that.
Second,
Tom and Joe. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is done. Approval of the Graceland Cemetery after 1 PM on weekend fee increase. We talked about this at
Yep.
the prior meeting.
So we had already approved all the other ones. That one kind of got overlooked, and by recommendation of you guys, you wanted us to bring it back. So it was going to, from 150 to 200. Essentially what it is it encourages funeral homes to be in the cemetery by 1 o'clock. Otherwise, some of that gets drawn out quite late, and if they want to pay it, they can come after 1, but then they're just going to have to pay a little extra fee. So that's what that is.
Makes perfect sense. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So move.
Joel and Tom. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It passes. Anything else for the good of the cause? If not,
Next meeting?
next meeting is April 14th at 5:45, right here. And we are adjourned in 2 minutes under an hour.
Still turned on.
Still turned on.
I appreciate, Joel, I appreciate your comments on getting that paid. So we have no, I mean, it's like a fresh start. Ever since I've been on the board, which was before you, it's just like,